All right, so get this. Today we're going to do a deep dive into the world of Amanita muscaria microdosing.
Oh, wow.
You know, that iconic red and white mushroom?
Like straight out of a fairy tale, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're talking about taking tiny amounts, not enough for a full-on trip or anything like that,
Right.
and seeing what happens. And guess what?
What?
Our source material is this book. It's in Russian.
Oh, wow.
And it's a massive research project where they tracked over 3,000 people's experiences microdosing this stuff.
That's incredible. Over 3,000.
Yeah. Can you believe that?
Hmm.
It's the largest study of its kind.
Wow.
And it's packed with some seriously intriguing findings, let me tell you.
I bet. It really is fascinating. This isn't like your typical like Silicon Valley biohacking.
Right.
This is like tapping into something ancient.
Yeah.
A practice that's been around for centuries.
Totally.
And what's particularly interesting is that Amanita muscaria, unlike, say, psilocybin mushrooms, can't be commercially cultivated. So we're still unlocking the secrets of its active compounds.
Okay, so you got me hooked. What kind of effects are we talking about?
Well, the book is filled with anecdotal reports of people seeing improvements with everything from psoriasis to depression. And some of the success rates are surprisingly high.
Wow.
And get this, there are even accounts of folks cutting back on alcohol.
No way.
And even breaking other addictions.
Wait, seriously. Amanita muscaria helping people kick bad habits. That's wild.
Yeah.
But hold on, before we get too carried away.
Sure.
It can't be all sunshine and roses, right? What about the risks?
Oh, of course. It's crucial to remember that this is a powerful substance and we need to approach it with caution.
Yeah.
While there's a lot of buzz about the potential benefits, we need more research, especially controlled clinical trials,
Right.
to fully understand the long-term effects and optimal dosages.
Right. Always good to keep a level head. So for this deep dive,
Yeah,
we're on a mission to break down the key takeaways from this unique Russian research.
absolutely.
We're talking about distilling thousands of user experiences, right, exploring the most fascinating anecdotes, and helping you navigate this whole world of Amanita muscaria microdosing.
Exactly. Let's start by shedding some light on this mysterious mushroom.
Oh,
Amanita muscaria has been used in traditional rituals and ceremonies by cultures around the world,
wow.
especially in Siberia and parts of Europe.
Interesting.
But remember, with microdosing, the goal isn't a mind-bending trip.
Right.
It's about harnessing those subtle effects.
So how did this book even come about? It sounds like a pretty unique project.
It really is. The book is the result of a collaboration between someone named B. Masha
Okay.
and Professor James Fadiman, who is a leading figure in psychedelic research,
Wow.
especially known for his work on psilocybin microdosing. They created an incredible public science project, gathering data through online surveys, Telegram groups, and personal stories from over 3,000 people globally.
Wow. That's impressive. Talk about crowdsourcing research.
I know.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. How much Amanita muscaria are we talking about for microdosing?
Well, the book suggests a range of 0.5 to 2 grams of dried mushroom.
Okay.
But here's the catch.
Right.
Finding the right dose for you is crucial.
Yeah.
We're talking about individual calibration,
Right.
starting low and slowly adjusting until you hit that sweet spot
Okay.
where you feel the subtle, positive effects without any major perceptual shifts.
So it's all about personalization.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And what about preparing it?
Yeah.
Any special techniques?
There are a few different methods mentioned in the book. Drying, powdering, making tea, infusing with lemon, even consuming it raw, though. That one comes with a big warning label.
Got it. So tread carefully. Okay, I'm ready for the exciting part.
All right.
Let's talk about those reported benefits. What kind of improvements are people experiencing?
Get ready, because the range is pretty astounding. We're talking physical health benefits, mental and emotional well-being,
Okay.
even some intriguing behavioral changes.
All right, let's break it down. What's happening on the physical health front?
So the book highlights some remarkable findings.
Okay.
A whopping 67% of users reported improvement with their psoriasis.
Wow.
And we know that can be a really stubborn condition.
It is?
And that's not all. 70% found relief from joint pain.
Wow.
And there were even promising results for onychomycosis, or nail fungus. Think about it. 21% reported a complete cure.
Wow, that's impressive. And remember, these are real people sharing their experiences, not just lab results.
Right.
It makes it so much more real, doesn't it?
Absolutely. These anecdotes bring the data to life.
Yeah.
But of course, it's essential to keep in mind that these are individual experiences. What works for one person might not for another.
Right. Always good to keep that in mind. Okay, so what about mental and emotional well-being? What kind of changes are people reporting there?
Oh, this is where things get really interesting. A huge 79% of users saw improvement in their depression and asthenia.
Asthenia.
Yeah, that's basically a state of fatigue and weakness. And what's really encouraging is that they didn't experience these zombie-like side effects that often come with traditional antidepressants.
Wow, that's a game changer.
Yeah.
Feeling better without the downsides. Sign me up. But is it really that simple?
Well, everyone's different. But the book's findings suggest that Amanita muscaria might offer a gentler, more natural path to feeling better mentally and emotionally. Users often describe feeling more energized, motivated, and generally positive.
I can see why people are so excited about this. What else are they noticing?
Well, a significant number, 73%, said their sleep improved. We're talking deep, restful sleep.
Oh, nice.
And even vivid, almost lucid dreams.
Wow.
People also reported feeling calmer, more creative, and more in tune with their surroundings.
Okay, so we're talking better sleep, better mood, even a boost in creativity. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
But there's more, right? You mentioned some interesting behavioral changes, too.
Right. This is where things get particularly fascinating.
Okay.
Let's talk about addiction. All right. A significant percentage of people who were struggling with alcohol,
Okay.
36% to be exact,
Wow.
achieved complete abstinence while microdosing Amanita muscaria.
Really?
And another 34% significantly reduced their drinking.
Hold on. Are you telling me that this mushroom could help people overcome addiction?
Yeah,
That's a huge claim.
it is. And it's consistent with emerging research on the potential of psychedelics to help break addictive patterns.
Right.
Of course, more research is needed on Amanita muscaria specifically, but it's a very promising avenue.
I can see why this is generating so much buzz.
Huh.
Are there similar findings for other addictions?
Yes, the book mentions positive results with other addictions too.
Like what?
Things like nicotine, marijuana,
Wow.
even video game addiction.
Seriously.
But remember, this is early stage research, so it's not a guaranteed cure-all.
Right. It's important to be realistic.
Right.
But it's still pretty incredible to think that this ancient mushroom
I know.
could have such a profound impact on people's lives.
It is.
And it's not just about kicking bad habits. There are also reports of changes in diet. People are finding themselves craving less sugar and processed foods.
Yeah.
Some even shifted towards vegetarianism, or at least reducing their meat consumption.
Interesting.
So it's like Amanita muscaria is giving people a nudge towards a healthier lifestyle,
Yeah,
both mentally and physically.
absolutely.
It's like a reset button for your habits.
Yeah.
This is getting more and more interesting.
It really is. It begs the question, could microdosing Amanita muscaria actually be influencing our reward pathways and how we experience pleasure? Could it be impacting our gut microbiome or even interacting with neurotransmitters related to appetite?
So many questions. It's like we're peeling back layers of a fascinating mystery. But before we get lost in the excitement,
Sure.
we need to remember that there's another side to this story. It's time to talk about the potential risks and side effects of microdosing Amanita muscaria. After all, we're dealing with a powerful substance here,
Right.
and we need to approach it with respect and caution.
Right. Absolutely. Just because something is natural doesn't mean it's automatically safe.
Right.
Every substance has its own set of potential risks and side effects.
Exactly. So let's dive into those potential downsides. What does the book have to say about the not-so-fun aspects of Amanita muscaria?
Well, the book mentions some common side effects, especially if you take a bit too much.
Okay.
Things like nausea,
Yeah.
stomach discomfort, increased salivation, even a feeling of having a coated tongue.
None of those sound particularly fun.
Yeah, not really.
Anything else to watch out for?
Some people also report anxiety or mood swings, especially if they haven't quite figured out their ideal dose.
Right.
And this is important. About 10% of users mentioned experiencing kidney pain.
Oh, wow.
So if you have any history of kidney problems,
Yeah,
definitely talk to a doctor before even thinking about trying this.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Better safe than sorry, right. So we're talking about microdosing here.
Right.
Tiny amounts.
Yeah.
What happens if you take too much?
Well, The book is very clear about the risk of high doses.
Okay.
You could end up with some pretty unpleasant and potentially dangerous psychoactive effects.
Right.
Remember, the goal with microdosing is to work with the subtle effects,
Yeah.
not to get knocked off your feet.
Okay. Noted.
Yeah.
Subtlety is key.
Exactly.
But before we move on, I'm curious about something.
Sure.
You mentioned that Amanita muscaria contains a neurotoxin.
Right.
That sounds kind of scary.
Yeah.
Should we be worried?
I understand the concern, but the key here is dosage.
Okay.
The neurotoxin, called ibotenic acid, can be harmful in large quantities.
Right.
But in the tiny amounts used for microdosing, it's generally considered safe for most people.
Okay.
Still, it's exactly why starting with a very low dose
Yeah.
and carefully figuring out what works for you is so important.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, I keep seeing this word decarboxylation pop up in discussions about Amanita muscaria.
Oh, yeah.
What's that all about?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Decarboxylation is a process that can reduce the amount of that neurotoxin ibotenic acid in the mushroom. Basically, when you heat Amanita muscaria, like by thoroughly drying it,
Right.
a good chunk of that ibotenic acid converts into muscimol.
Okay. And why is that conversion important for me?
Yeah.
The potential microdoser.
Because muscimol is the compound that's thought to be responsible for the beneficial effects.
Okay.
The mood lift, the creativity boost, all that good stuff. And by reducing the ibotenic acid, you're essentially making the microdosing experience potentially safer and more predictable.
So the takeaway here is that how you prepare your Amanita muscaria
Right.
can make a real difference, both in terms of safety and how it affects you.
Exactly.
Fascinating.
It is.
It's like ancient wisdom meets modern science.
It really is.
Yeah.
We're taking this traditional knowledge and starting to understand it on a deeper scientific level.
Speaking of traditional knowledge, the book really emphasizes the importance of finding the right dose for each individual.
Absolutely. And there's no one-size-fits-all approach here.
Right.
We all have unique bodies and minds.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that we'd respond to substances differently.
The book calls it individual calibration, right?
Yes.
Starting low,
Uh-huh.
paying close attention to how you feel,
Right?
and adjusting the dose gradually
Yeah.
until you find that sweet spot.
Exactly. It's about respecting your body and its signals.
Yeah.
It's a journey of self-discovery.
And speaking of journeys, one of the things that really intrigued me in the book was how Amanita muscaria might affect our relationship with fear.
That's one of the most compelling aspects, isn't it?
It is.
The book suggests that Amanita muscaria could be interacting with those parts of our brains
Right.
that deal with how we process and respond to fear.
There are all these anecdotes from people who say they felt less anxious,
Yeah.
less afraid while microdosing. Some even talked about facing their fears head on, feeling more courageous and resilient.
It's amazing to think about, isn't it? That this mushroom could potentially help us rewrite our relationship with fear.
Yeah, it is.
Of course, we're not talking about throwing caution to the wind
Right.
and
Right.
doing reckless things.
We still need common sense.
Absolutely.
But imagine if we could use Amanita muscaria to help people who are struggling with anxiety disorders,
Right.
phobias, even PTSD.
That's the dream, to harness this potential for healing and personal growth.
Yeah.
It is.
It's like Amanita muscaria is giving us a gentle nudge,
Yeah.
encouraging us to step outside of our comfort zones, to see ourselves in the world differently.
It's a beautiful thought, isn't it? And it's not just about facing fears. Many users also report feeling more creative, more connected to their spirituality, more in tune with nature.
I was just getting to that.
Oh, yeah.
The book is full of stories about people feeling a sense of awe and wonder, like they're seeing the world with fresh eyes.
It's almost like microdosing Amanita muscaria lifts a veil, revealing a deeper, more interconnected reality.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What if our everyday perception of reality is just a tiny sliver of what's actually possible?
Right.
Maybe Amanita muscaria can help us access a wider spectrum of consciousness.
Now we're getting into some deep philosophical territory.
I know, right?
It's certainly a question worth pondering,
Yeah.
but I think it all comes back to this idea of intention.
What do you mean?
It's not just about taking a substance and hoping for a magical outcome.
Right.
It's about approaching this experience with a clear purpose, a willingness to explore your inner world,
Yeah.
and a commitment to integrating those insights into your life.
So it's about using Amanita muscaria as a tool for growth and transformation, not just a quick fix.
Exactly. And as we move towards the last part of our deep dive, I think it's important to consider how this incredible research project could pave the way for more rigorous scientific studies. We're just starting to scratch the surface of Amanita muscaria's potential, and I'm excited to see where the research takes us.
Me too.
It is exciting.
It feels like we've stumbled upon a hidden treasure, a whole new world waiting to be explored.
Yeah, it really does. But before we send everyone running off to find Amanita muscaria, let's talk about responsible use. I mean, we've been kind of touching on this throughout our deep dive, but I think it's worth really emphasizing.
Oh, absolutely. Enthusiasm is great, but we need a healthy dose of caution, too.
Right.
You know, this isn't a toy we're playing with. Amanita muscaria can have really profound effects.
Right.
So treating it with respect and care is just essential.
Okay, so let's get practical. What are some key guidelines for someone who's maybe intrigued and wants to, explore Amanita muscaria microdosing safely?
Well, first and foremost, do your homework.
Yeah.
Don't just skim a few blog posts or, rely on hearsay. Dive into the scientific literature. Read books like the one we've been discussing. And if possible, connect with experienced practitioners.
Right.
The more knowledge you have, the better equipped you'll be to navigate this territory safely.
It makes sense. You wouldn't go on a, challenging hike without a map, the right gear, and some idea of what to expect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And speaking of preparation, finding a reputable source for your Amanita muscaria is crucial.
Right.
This mushroom can't be commercially cultivated, so knowing its origin,
Right.
how it was harvested and prepared, and being confident in its purity are paramount.
Yeah, we've all heard those cautionary tales about people buying things online and ending up with something totally different.
Right.
Or even dangerous.
Absolutely.
So it sounds like with Amanita muscaria, quality and knowing where it comes from are really important.
They are.
Yeah.
Really important. And as we discussed earlier, proper preparation is key, both for safety and effectiveness.
Right.
Thoroughly drying the mushrooms
Yeah.
to convert that ibotenic acid into muscimol is, standard practice.
Okay.
Some people even go a step further.
Oh, really?
They'll simmer them in lemon water.
To reduce the ibotenic acid levels even more.
Okay, so you've done your research, you found a good source, and you've prepared your Amanita muscaria carefully. What's next?
It's time to embark on that journey of individual calibration we talked about. Remember, start low and slow.
Yeah?
Begin with a tiny dose, maybe even half a gram,
Okay.
and see how your body responds.
It's like dipping your toe in the water before jumping in head first.
Exactly. Pay attention to everything. Your energy levels, mood, sleep, how your mind feels, any physical sensations you notice.
Right.
Keep a journal, meditate, whatever helps you tune in to your body's subtle signals.
Yeah, it's a process of self-discovery, a way of learning to listen to your body's wisdom.
Precisely. And if you experience any discomfort or anything that feels off, just stop right away.
Okay.
Reduce the dose or discontinue use altogether.
Right.
This is about empowering yourself, not pushing your limits.
And I can't stress this enough. If you have any health concerns, especially anything related to your kidneys, or if you're taking medications, talk to your doctor before experimenting with Amanita muscaria.
Always better to err on the side of caution and get professional guidance.
Yeah.
Especially when you're dealing with a substance that can interact with your body and medications.
Okay, so we've covered responsible use pretty thoroughly.
Yeah.
But there's one more thing we need to address.
Yeah.
The legal aspect.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a gray area, isn't it?
It is. Laws surrounding Amanita muscaria vary widely depending on where you are in the world. In some places, it's perfectly legal, while in others, it's regulated or even prohibited.
Right.
So before you do anything,
Make
sure you understand the laws in your specific jurisdiction.
Right. Don't assume that because something is natural or has a long history of traditional use, that it's automatically okay legally.
Exactly. Always do your due diligence.
Yeah.
Now, as we wrap up this deep dive, I think it's important to take a step back and appreciate the bigger picture here.
Yeah.
Our exploration of Amanita muscaria microdosing has taken us far beyond just another wellness trend.
Totally.
We've been talking about ancient wisdom, the connection between mind and body, the power of nature, and even the potential for profound personal transformation.
Yeah, it feels like we've just scratched the surface of something truly remarkable.
Yeah.
This isn't just about a mushroom. It's about expanding our understanding of what's possible, about reclaiming ancient knowledge, and about exploring our own inner landscapes.
It's a journey that doesn't end with this deep dive. It's an invitation to keep questioning, to keep exploring, and to approach the mysteries of the natural world with a sense of wonder and respect.
So for you listening, maybe this has sparked your curiosity about Amanita muscaria. Maybe you're already thinking about giving it a try. Or perhaps you're just fascinated by the potential of these ancient remedies to impact our lives in such profound ways. Whatever you take away from this deep dive, remember to approach it with an open mind, a critical eye, and a willingness to listen to your own inner wisdom. And always, always do your research and prioritize safety. Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.